This is the computer, or one of the two computers I bought at the car boot at the weekend at the flea market. Yeah, this one has the Asus Republic of Gamers Strix GTX 970. It has the cooler master. This looks like a Evo 212 or something like that to me, or 212 LED. 500 watt supply and a couple of hard drives in here, and this basically one stick of RAM, so it was a bit strange. So this switches on, boots up, shuts down, on and off. Like the fans come on for a few seconds, goes off. I don't get any bleeps, I don't get anything on the screen. Yeah, so we need to have a look at this and see what's wrong with this. So I think the best thing to do with this is if we effectively strip it down and have a look to see what we've got. Yeah, in here. To see what's in there. I'd already tried disconnecting the various SATA cables and such, and it still won't power on. Well, it powers on, but it won't boot up. Yeah, so let's take this apart and see what we've got. Okay, so this is what we have. So we've got the Gigabyte GA-B85M-DS3H-A motherboard. Yeah, definitely a Evo or LED 212, I'm sure. Bolted down. It's not fitted with like the correct fittings, yeah, for the CPU. It's been bolted to the motherboard basically. Okay, that's how they've done it. Yeah. This is the ROG Republic of Gamers Strix GTX 970, 4 gigabytes DDR5. Yeah, that's probably the more valuable part. I don't know what CPU's on this, but the fact it's got this cooler on suggests to me it might be something half decent, you know. 4th generation. There's two 1 terabyte drives actually, so we have a Seagate, we have a loss of focus for some reason. Okay. We have the Seagate 1 terabyte, and we have a Western Digital 1 terabyte. These are worth about €10 each or something, but to be quite honest, if these are good, I'll probably put these in my machine I use for recording the YouTube videos. I record onto an SSD, but then I back up the completed videos, so they'd be useful. Because I only have a 500 gig there, and there's only about 60 gig left. Yeah. The fact this won't boot up with or without the GPU would kind of suggest probably this is where the problem is and not the GPU, but I could well be unlucky, and it could be both. Yeah. So I think we'll get a power supply. Yeah, we'll get our own good PSU on this, and it's a gigabyte, so the PCIe analyzer should work in the slots, so we can see what it's doing. And let's power this up and see what it actually does now it's out of the case. I've just noticed now that the RAM was kind of like sitting in the slot, but wasn't actually inserted properly. Yeah, well, that might have happened when I was disconnecting the wires, but I honestly don't think so. No, I'm sure they would have been up to get to these screws. Maybe. This is what is it? It might be an 8 gig strip, you know. That might be an 8 gig, but there's only one in there, which seems strange. And I would have thought if there's only one, it'd probably have to go into this slot, but I haven't looked at the manual. Let's get a bleeper. Yeah, we'll get a little speaker, we'll get a start switch, and we'll power this thing up without the RAM fitted, and let's see what it does. Okay, so that's ready to go. We've got power on the PSU. I've already checked for shorts on the 12 volts previously on the video where I was just going through the stuff I found at the weekend, so that should be okay. The little standby light is on the analyzer card. Let's move the camera down so you can also see that as well, so you can see what the analyzer's doing. Much more useful than looking at me. Yeah, there's the analyzer card down there. Okay, so yeah, let's switch it on. You'd expect it to bleep. Yeah, now it's bleeping for no RAM, whereas previously I was getting no sound out of it, and I'm sure the speaker was connected previously. Whether it was any good, I don't know. So let's stick this RAM in this slot. Let's see what this does. Nothing on the card, but no bleeps. Let's connect a monitor to it and let's see what it's actually doing. There's onboard video on this. This looks like something's got on this. Like, you know, I'd say coffee, but I can't even scrape it off. It's so hard. A little bit there as well. I wonder if something's been spilt in this. Looks a little bit messy down here as well, and here. Yeah, little traces of something. Oh, somebody messaged me. Okay. Right, so let's connect the monitor and let's see what it does, if anything. Power on. Start. It kind of takes control of the fan, you know, like it comes on fast and slows off. So that's a good sign. But it's not doing anything. And this is not doing anything either, but that's not necessarily that unusual. Oh, now it shut itself down. Now it's powered itself on again. So it's like the BIOS is trying to do something. Obviously it bleeps with no RAM. So, one beep. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. It's just saying GA-B85M BIOS and going off. Let's see if it does it again. You're going to do it again. Speaker's making the occasional clicking noise. Switch it off. Switch it on. Boot. No bleeps this time. The last time I had a motherboard, and I'm pretty sure it was a Gigabyte actually, doing this sort of thing. It was just a corrupted BIOS, yeah. Program with EEPROM program. No, now it definitely doesn't want to power on. I'll switch it off. Give it a couple of minutes while the just let the camera's moving. Give it a couple of minutes to let the power drain out of it, if you like, yeah. And then let's try it again. But I've seen it come up once. Came up, said GA-B85M BIOS sort of strip at the top, then went off. Okay, that should be long enough. Let's try it again. Okay, let's power on. Power it up. Are you going to do it again? No. Let's try clearing the CMOS settings. Yeah, let's have a go for that. But I think, I know it's restarted. It restarts on its own. It did that before. What do we get? Bleep, one bleep. GA-B85M BIOS. Then it shuts down. Yeah. And then it powers back on. And if it does the same as before, the speaker starts making little clicking noises. I'm going to try to hold the speaker by the microphone, yeah. No, I can't hear the clicking this side. A little tick, tick, tick noise before. Okay, without messing around with this one, I'm going to try and I'm going to reprogram the BIOS because it's acting very much like one I've seen before. Yeah, let's just try another strip of RAM, but if that, because it's so easy to try, but if that doesn't help us, let's reprogram the BIOS. Okay, so I've got a couple of strips of this Kingston HyperX Blue, yeah, DDR3. I've got 4 of these, so I've put 2 of them in the machine. These are known good, yeah. Let's power this one on and let's see what it does now. I've moved the analyzer card to another slot and it's now working, yeah. You can actually see that it's counting up. Oh, and it's actually booting now. Looks like it didn't like a single 8 gig strip of RAM. No obviously no bootable device. Let's get a keyboard and mouse and let's stick the original hard drives on and see what it actually does. Okay, we're ready to go. So these are the original hard drives. I've just put them, I don't know which one was which, and it might have had an SSD in this as well, but I'm a bit surprised it didn't have. So I don't know if either of these are bootable drives, but let's just power her on. I've got a keyboard on here as well, PS2 keyboard, USB mouse, and let's see if we can will it boot again. Can we get into the BIOS? Just thinking about it, nothing happening at the moment. Nothing happening at the moment. Powered off. Boot up again. See if it boots this. It seems to be the second time it booted before. Yeah, boots on the second attempt. Not quite sure why. Here we go. Let's just see if it can actually boot. No. Let it try again. I'm just letting it do its stuff, yeah. No bleeps this time. If I can get the BIOS up again this time, I'll try to get into the BIOS. Okay, he's restarted it yet again. Let's see if we can. Yeah, it's bleeped once. Oh, Dell for BIOS. Oh, probably a bit too slow there. I'll just let it go around the loop again. It seems to, like, every second time it takes me to the BIOS. Let's make this window a little bit bigger while we're doing this so you can actually see a little bit better what's going on. Yeah, there you go. I'll have to try and organise some better way you guys can see the screen than doing it this way. Yeah. Okay, this time it boots, so we should get into the BIOS. Again, power on. One bleep, good. I'm hitting the Dell key now. Ah, no. Well, I've got a mouse pointer. I have a feeling this has got a corrupted BIOS. Just the way it's behaving, yeah, and off it goes again. Okay. I've seen something very similar to this before, and it was a corrupted BIOS. So I've switched it off. So we're going to have to desolder the BIOS chips, yeah, from the motherboard, and put them into the EEPROM programmer and load it up. So I'll go find a suitable BIOS file, then I'll be back and we can desolder these and program them. Okay, so the best place to find a BIOS file is to go to the manufacturer's website, normally, to be honest. Let's just go and have a look, see what we can find. Yeah, so it's the GA-B85M, yeah, that one. So Gigabyte's website, yeah, it just tells us. I knew it was a fourth generation Intel Core processors, so it's got something of that ilk in there. Go over to support. So here's the drivers and BIOS files. Yeah, 2017. That's the most recent BIOS. Okay, so let's get that one. I can just stick it in here. So it's the B85M, yeah, GA-B85M, and we can save that. So we've got that. 2.9 meg. So let's have a look to see what's actually in this. Yeah, let's see what's in this thing. That, if it's an even number of megabytes, it's probably the binary file, 4 megabytes. If the BIOS file, when I read it, is the same size, then that's the one we want, yeah. And it's probably a bin file or a ROM file. Does it tell us? Probably does somewhere if I knew where to find it. Details. It's an F3 file. Okay, that's the file type. Okay, well, I think we can use that. Yeah, we don't need the utility because obviously we can't boot it. Yeah. So we'll go and do that. But just before I go and program that, I just want to check one other thing. Worth checking. I don't think it's going to make any difference. But while I've been looking for that, I've taken the CMOS battery off. Yeah, and it's a bit low. It's reading 3.04. Yeah, you can just see it there. So that's a bit low. Probably flat actually. I've stuck a jumper on the clear CMOS, and that's been on there for 5 minutes. So let's just try clearing the CMOS, and we'll have one last attempt to see if we can get this thing to boot up. And if not, then what we'll have to do is desolder these two BIOS chips. This is a main and a backup, yeah. And you need to program both, because if it doesn't boot from the main, if it goes to the backup one, it then overwrites the main one. So you need to put the same BIOS in both of them, yeah. But let's just try the clearing. You never know, fingers crossed and all that, yeah. Might just save us a little job. But if it doesn't, it's not a real problem. Okay, let's see if it's our lucky day. So I've put a new CMOS battery in. I've cleared the CMOS. See what it does now. I've got a USB keyboard on this time, not a PS2. Yeah, powered off, powers back on again. Does it go bleep? No, no bleep. Powered off again. Power back on again. That just seems to have made it worse, actually. Clearing the CMOS. Powered off again. Powered back on again. Powered off again. Yeah, this seems to be stuck in this loop. Let's just stick the post analyzer in again. Let's see if that's telling us any difference. Let's just move the camera. You can see it's there. Power on. Go. Nope, see, it goes off again. Power's on again. I think the CPU LED is coming on, you know. It's making the little clicking noises again on the speaker. Okay, let's reprogram these BIOS chips and then let's see what it does. Yeah, it's off again. That's on its own. That's before I switched it off. Yeah. Power on. See, now it can just reset. Yeah. It's acting a bit. Oh, now this time it does boot. Gives the UEFI BIOS screen. Yeah, it goes off. Comes back on again, yeah. Doesn't boot, stuck on 32 with the CPU LED on. I don't suppose there's no... you think I'm trying to avoid reprogramming this BIOS, don't you? I don't suppose like there's no cooling paste on it, do you? No, it's not even warm. I've got a finger under the CPU. It's not even warm, yeah. I'm going to do the BIOS. Okay. Let's get it ready for surgery. Okay. I've just zoomed in a bit. This is what's on this, by the way, but I don't know what it is because it's like really hard. It doesn't scrape off. And there doesn't seem to be any of it on the board, yeah? Taking the CMOS battery out, obviously, for what I'm about to do. So these are the BIOS chips, yeah? Main BIOS and backup BIOS. I ought to remove the heatsink, but it's far enough away. And that also seems to be splattered with this stuff by a little bit as well on the back of there. I don't know what that is. But these are far enough away from there, I think I can actually do this without having to take the heatsink off. Since it's all bolted on, I mean, I can remove it, but if I don't have to. I mean, I probably will have to at some point just to make sure this thing's actually got some decent amount of thermal compound on it, if assuming I can actually get it to work. Right, so easiest way to do this that I found is first of all a bit of flux. bit of flux. Yeah, get a soldering iron and some leaded solder, and effectively get solder on both sides. Try and bridge all the pins together if you can. Yeah, like that, yeah. Solder bridge. This will effectively form an alloy with the leaded solder, sorry, lead-free solder, and lower the melting point, so it makes it much easier to desolder the chip without accidentally desoldering stuff that's close to it, yeah? And we can put a little bit of Kapton tape over this on these capacitors, obviously. So yeah. So effectively I've got a bridge of solder on each one, yeah? Now we want a little bit of Kapton tape, one moment. Okay, so I've taken a bit of tape and just covered over the plasticky parts, yeah, in these capacitors. I've got something like a metal tray. This is the lid off an old satellite receiver, basically, yeah. And I position this so the board's overhanging, so there's nothing underneath here. But because I've put the solder on there, this should melt relatively easily, yeah. I just need to find a pair of tweezers. Okay, I have some tweezers. I've got the hot air on 450 degrees, airflow 120, which is maximum. This is a Quick 861DW, yeah, that I'm using. Obviously your hot air may be different and have different settings, yeah. So let's just warm the area a little bit first, and then we'll come down onto these BIOS chips, and these should come off quite easily now. That solder will make a big difference to this job, yeah. Let's just get some heat onto them now. There, one's on. Two gone, yeah. And you see how easily that came off there, yeah, without it hasn't, you know, it hasn't heated the other areas, it hasn't desoldered anything else. So there you go, guys. That's the way to do that, yeah. Obviously now we have big blobs of solder on the board because of what we've just done, yeah. So now we need to get some some solder braid and just clean that up. Okay, this is the solder braid that I use, yeah. Solder wick desoldering braid Chemtronics. You can buy it in a tub of 10 of them in a tube like this. I get them from AliExpress and it works perfectly well. It comes 10 in a tube and it was about 15 or 16 euros or something. It's not the cheapest braid you can buy, but it's the best, yeah. Just buy this stuff. Don't buy cheap. Yeah, just honestly, believe me. Believe me. Chemtronics number 4, yeah. Get that one. Right, so there's already some flux on this, but we can put a little bit more. You know, flux never hurts with this. A bit of flux on here where these solder blobs are, yeah. A T12 soldering iron, yeah. That's KSG, or however you want to pronounce this one. With the BC3 tip. This is set at 330 degrees, yeah. Let's just get in here with a bit of this braid. That's it. A bit more. You see how well this stuff works? Yeah. Just clean the last little pad. And again, same with the other one. Yeah, nice and clean. Nice and clean, there you go, yeah. Well, there's a little bit too much left on one. Let's just take the old bit of braid off the end of this, yeah. You can see how much solder that's taking, yeah. The capacity of this stuff's amazing. Okay. Yeah, nice and clean, ready for the, let me go back on again. This braid will hold a phenomenal amount of solder, yeah. It really does do the job, so yeah. I don't. If I haven't convinced you now, good luck to you, yeah. Okay, let's get these chips programmed. Okay, this is the programmer that I use. This is a Mini Pro TL866A, yeah. Again from AliExpress, it was about 30 euros or something like that. There's a few versions. There's a TL866-2 now, Roman numerals II2, yeah. This one, the A version. and mine is the CS version, which programs chips in circuit, yeah, or can do, allegedly. This one can program higher voltage EEPROMs that are found on old vintage equipment, and the -2 version can do lower voltage. I think it's 1.8 volt, which this can't do, but you can get an adapter for this for 1.8, but you can't get an adapter for the other version for the higher voltage chips, yeah. So in my opinion, this is the best one if you get your hands on one. The problem with the in-circuit programming, I've got the lead, yeah, and the clip to clip on the chips. The trouble is with this, that when it effectively programs the EEPROM, it has to power up the chip, yeah, and that's connected to like your 3.3 volt rail on the motherboard. So we'd have to power up the entire 3.3 rail to effectively program the chip, and it doesn't have the power to do it, yeah. So just do them out of circuit, you know. Yeah, you think it's going to save you time, it ain't, yeah. So let's get the adapter. This is the little adapter that's meant for programming these chips in circuit. Yeah, as I say, in my experience, it just doesn't do it unless you can power up the voltage rail, the supply rail externally to these. It's not going to do it. Yeah. Then I thought, okay, well, I'll be clever here, so I'll unsolder the chip, and then effectively clip this thing on top of it while the chip is out of circuit. Yeah, like so. Plug this into the programmer and program it, and it won't do it. I can never seem to get a good enough connection. I've tried it, try it yourself, but in the end, just do it the way it was supposed to be done. Yeah. So this is a little adapter. You can see this has been used a number of times, and I guess eventually I'll have to buy a new one of these. You know, this programmer comes with a whole range, about a dozen different adapters. Yeah. So what we need to do now is solder our chip onto the board, yeah. So we'll just get it in position. I usually do it with my fingers. I usually find the easiest way to do this is to stick the thing into the programmer first, yeah. So put the little adapter on here, and that holds it still while you're soldering it, yeah. This is what I tend to do. This has like a little notch, a little circle there, yeah. And the chip, and if you see, it has a little circle there, yeah. So you line that up on there, line it up on here. I have to use the magnifier, so I'm not sure if you'll be able to see me do it. I'll try from this angle, yeah. Line the pins up on the pad, and this is how I tend to do it with my fingers, yeah. Get one pad lined up first. I'm out, yeah, you can't see, can you? And solder one pin, yeah. I've got it. Let's adjust the focus. That's just zoom. That's maximum zoom. Okay. So I've got one pin soldered on this side now, yeah. I can still twist the chip slightly. That pin's holding it in place, but I can still kind of like rotate it slightly and line up the other side, yeah. And once I get it lined up, you can see me doing it there, yeah. A little bit of solder. I'll use the thin solder, it's better for this. This is 0.2mm, yeah, 0.2mm. It's ideal solder for this sort of work. Again, I tend to use this big chunky tip on here. I find this is fine for almost everything, because you get a lot of heat transfer very quickly with this, yeah. So let's go to the other end. A little bit of solder. It's now tacked down. So I'm now going to solder the rest of those pins with the magnifier. Okay, so that's soldered. So what we need to now do is put the adapter in the right place, and I find it's a little bit fiddly to get sit in because the little stick that sticks up kind of like gets in the way. So if I lean it forward just slightly, I can then get the thing to go correct and clamp it down, yeah. And that's ready to program. Okay, so let's get on with programming. Okay, so the programmer's USB, so I've just plugged it in, it's just detected that, yeah. Let me just sort the other camera out. Yeah, you can see me now, not just my shirt, yeah. Okay, so you see the chip's slightly crooked, but it's not important, it's close enough, as long as it's not short and it's soldered to all the pins. But we'll soon know anyway. If we now go to the, oops, sorry, I need to just select screen capture so you can see what I'm doing, yeah. Get rid of this, okay. So let's just go over to the desktop now, and we have the software I have my camera BIOS on the screen, so I can't totally see. There we are. Mini programming, yeah. So this is the software. I can see it here. So this chip is a 25L3206E, yeah. So first of all, we have to select the IC here. So we want 3206E, yeah. That's the chip. Ours is this small outline SOP 8. It's an 8-pin, yeah. So I'm pretty sure it's that one, but we'll soon know if it's right, yeah. We'll select it. Right, if we now try to read the chip by clicking on the R icon, it'll pick up an ident, a number from the chip, and if it's correct, it'll know it's correct and basically say OK. So let's see what happens. Read. Yeah, see there, ID is OK. So each chip has a unique ID, and from that it knows it's the chip that you selected. Very occasionally you have to bypass that, but I think only once have we ever come across that situation where it didn't identify the chip properly but it still worked, yeah. But that's what I like about this software. It's easy to use, it's almost automated, yeah. So we can now read our chip. And just take a few more seconds and we'll have the contents of the EEPROM, yeah. Here we go. Nice weather, by the way. I always talk about the weather, but the weather's always nice here, so there's never much to say, yeah. Okay, read finished. Just cancel that. So it's read the chip. These blocks of FFs and BIOSes are very common to see. All there's lots of FF, yeah. Normally towards the end of the file you probably get some text you can actually read on this side. Sometimes you'll see like a revision numbers and this sort of thing towards the end. No, it doesn't look like it is on this one, but quite often I can actually see here like a date, a revision number, that sort of thing, yeah. Yeah, this isn't telling us a great deal. Okay, so we've read the file, yeah. Oh, startup, yeah, you can see some text there. So we know it's read the file. So we can now save this. I'll just find the folder that I put the downloaded file in, and now let's just check the size of it. Okay, so it's in here. It's in a folder called Kelly, I believe. Let's have a quick look. I think I just chose a folder, Kelly, and then here, yeah, this one. Okay. I'm going to have to rename the other file to type to bin or hex. No, maybe not. Let's just try this. So let's put in here, this is original, yeah? So we can always write this back if we need to. Let's save that. Okay, so that's saved the original file, yeah? I'm interested to see if that file is the same size as the one I'm going to write to the chip, because that would tell me I've basically got the right file, yeah? So let's just have a look on here. So let's go back into the folder again. Kelly, yeah? Where are we? Somewhere, Kelly. Okay. Motherboard. Right. So there's the original bin that we've just rated. And I believe this should probably be a 4 meg file. Let's have a look. It's a 4 meg file, yeah? And if we look at this file here, yeah, this is also a 4 meg file. So that tells us it's the right file size. I may need to rename this to .bin or .rom, but let's have a look. So let's go File, Open, yeah. Now it's found it. Yeah, it's happy. The file looks different now towards the end of it. Well, so we have a file. So what we need to do now is write this to our chip. It's quite simple. So we choose P for program, yeah, and we click on program. It recognises the chip. It's now programming it. This can take a little bit longer than reading it because it does a verify as well. So it'll program the chip first. The fact that at the moment it's erasing the chip, yeah. Now it's going to program it, and you'll see this is slower than when I was reading the chip. So I'm just going to pause the video here and let it do that, yeah, because I say there's no point we're talking about the weather because the weather's gorgeous, scorchio, yeah, normal. Okay, so this is written the program. It took it 68 seconds. It's now just verifying. It's reading it back to make sure it's programmed correctly. Yeah, it's just reading it back. Okay, program is successful, so that's done. So what I need to do now is to program the other chip, but it's exactly the same as what I've just done, so we can pause the video and I'll see you in a second or less. Okay, so they're soldered back in position. Just use a little bit of isopropyl to clean it up a bit. You can see the port number now as well, 25L3206E. Both the correct way round with the little arrows pointing towards pin 1. A little white arrow there and another one up here, yeah, there. So yeah, so they're done. So I soldered them exactly the same way that I soldered it onto the adapter, yeah, when I programmed them. So held it in position with my fingers, managed to get one corner tagged down, straighten it up with that corner tagged. I can move it just enough to straighten it and then solder it around, yeah. Okay, so let's see if that's actually fixed our problem or not. So once again, we've got the post analyzer card in here, ready to go. CMOS batteries back in. Yeah, power supply's on. Just need to get some power plugged into that. Right, hot air fell off the stand. Let me switch that off actually in a minute. Once it cools back down, I've got the wire cut through the hot air gun, yeah. Power on. Power's on. Switch that off, that was the hot air. Oh yeah, we just need a little bleeper, don't we, in the switch to see if it bleeps and if it boots, yeah. Okay, so that's that one. That's that one. Okay. Power on. Well, it boots up. It's counting differently now, but it's shut back down again. Boots up again. I've got a keyboard plugged in. Let's see if we get into the BIOS. Oh yes. Oh yes. Yep. Okay. Load optimized defaults. Let's do that first. Yeah, this time it boots first time then, yeah. No bootable device, okay. Enter the BIOS, right, let's see what we've got. Well, 8 gig of RAM. Let's stick the hard drive out. Let's put the original hard drives on this and see whether or not it actually boots. Yeah, but I think we can say we've solved that problem. Oops, sorry about all this. Yeah, just the tripod keeps slipping. Yeah, let me steady it 1 moment. Okay, I've balanced the camera on top of the microscope to see if you can actually see what's happening on screen now. Yeah, so I've added the 2 hard drives, yeah, that were with the machine originally. I don't know if either of these are actually the boot drive or if maybe it had an SSD originally. I just don't know. So let's power it on and let's boot it. Yeah. Let's see. Well, 1 bleep. So it boots first time every time now. Gigabyte. Let's see. Let's see it a bit more. If it doesn't boot now, I'll try just 1 hard drive, then the other one, yeah, to see if either of them are actually bootable drives or not. Looks like they're not at the moment. No, I don't think so. Okay, let's try 1 hard drive, then the other one. Okay, I've moved the camera a little bit, see if that's better. And I've got one of the hard drives attached now, yeah, onto SATA 0. So let's just try it with this one and see if it does anything now. Switch the power on, of course. Okay. It beeps 1 time every time and boots every time now. So that's a good sign. It may be that neither of these drives have anything on them. That doesn't seem to do anything, does it? Does it take us into the BIOS? No. That just seems to hang up at that point. Let's try the other one. If neither of these work, I'll take a known good hard drive that has Windows 10 on, yeah, and see if it'll actually boot it. I mean, it may crash during the loading, but we can see. So this is just the other hard drive. Again, it's going to boot straight away. What's that? Does F12 give us a boot menu? Yeah. Oh yeah. So we found. Yeah. So it's found the drive. Let's see if I can boot from it. No. So that's not a boot device. Okay. Let's go back to the first one and try that again with that one. And if that doesn't work, then I can assume the boot drive has been taken off this machine, and these two are data drives probably. Yeah. Because I think we've fixed the fault. Let's go in again. Let it boot. F12. Ah, Windows Boot Manager. Does that do anything? If not, I'll then try the hard drive. No, it doesn't seem to do anything. Let's try again and try the other option, yeah. Power on, start. F12, just choose the hard drive, yeah. Insert proper boot device. Okay, let me get, yeah, sorry, you can't see it, it is there, insert proper boot device. Okay, let's let's go and try a known good drive. Okay, I think this 320 gig Samsung has Windows 10 on. I'm pretty sure. The one I used to have on test rig, I managed to corrupt that one. So yeah, let's power. I mean, just needs reinstalling, you know. So let's see if I add anything to this one. Let's power it on. Ah, this one seems to be more likely to do something. Yeah. Okay, we're booting Windows. So we can say that neither of those drives are bootable. So I wouldn't be surprised if this thing originally had an SSD on it. Okay, let's let that load Windows, and then let's see if we can actually see what CPU we have in this now. Yeah, so this is my trial PC hard drive, yeah. We know this one's a good Windows 10. Yeah, we're in Windows. Well, the first thing I'm interested to know was what CPU this actually is. If I find the mouse, I have a mouse plugged into this somewhere. Oh, this PC, it's here. Okay. Yeah. Right click. Properties, what do we have? Oh, it's i5 4960. Can you see that? i5 4690. Sorry, it's not i7K. I think anything, but yeah, i5 4690 CPU, 3.5 gigahertz, 8 gig of RAM, as we know. I suppose now the $1,000,000 question is: does the GPU work? Yeah. Well, not exactly $1,000,000, but you know, you want to know, don't you? And I want to know: does the GPU work? Well, I've got it plugged in. I've had to change the power supply because the other one I was using didn't have an 8-way connector for the GPU. Yeah, this is a 750 watt that I took off PC I got from the car boot sale a few weeks, well, a month or something ago. The i7 4770, yeah. But that didn't have a GPU. Okay, so let's power this on. Power's on. I think we're ready to go. I've got the monitor plugged into the back of the GPU now. Let's see what it does. It powers up. Fans are spinning everywhere. GPU fans go off. Oh, I have a bleep. Well, I've got a picture out of it. It's giving me a picture and it's booting Windows. Fans have gone off on the GPU, but I'm guessing that's because it isn't drawing much power at the moment. Yeah, it doesn't need. Let's just let us boot Windows and let's see what it says we actually have here. Then I guess I have to load some suitable drivers for this, yeah. Go on, get into Windows. It's running off an old hard drive. It's not an SSD, so it takes a little while. Let's give it a moment. So it's going to do it anyway. Here we go. Please wait, please wait. Espero, Spanish. Wait. Oh, trial PC. So the first thing is, does it see the GPU? I mean, it's using it, at least to give us a picture. So I'm guessing it sees it. I'll just wait for that to finish loading. Okay, so I'm in a device management. It's saying it's a Microsoft basic display adapter. 2 of them. So I think we're gonna have to load some drivers for this. I thought it might have seen it, to be honest, but okay, let's try load some drivers and see what happens. Yeah. Okay, well the drivers seem to have installed all right. It's saying that it's installed okay, so let's just close that and let's see what happens. So launch this GeForce Experience, whatever that is. Something's happening. Right, well, it needs to be online. Okay, so I'm not on the internet, which is fair enough. Let's go find some. Let's see what Specky says. That'd be interesting. I might have to restart the computer, but let's see what Specky thinks. Yes, GeForce GTX 970, so it knows it's there. Yeah, it gives us the temperature. Let's go find some benchmark and let's just see if it likes that. Yeah. Oops, put this camera down somewhere before I knock everything off the desk. Yeah, including knocking that graphics card out the slot. Okay. I guess that's running. Yeah. 67 frames per second. I don't know what this card should be doing. I set it to 1920 by 1080 HD, yeah, and it's managing about 67 frames per second. Yeah. Temperature up to between 46 and 68. The fans are running on the GPU, so I guess that's a pretty good indication. Yeah. I think we can say this graphics card works, yeah. That's just going to come to the end of that test now. I just run it. So yeah, it's not getting overly hot. There we are. There you go. Okay, so that's the score. I'm hoping some of you guys can tell me if this card is actually running correctly, yeah, at that speed. Okay guys, that's it for that one. Just get this camera straight again. Okay, so sorry for a little bit of dodgy camera work there. I need to see if I can improve this setup, find some way to capture on the screen when I'm testing. That would be a good idea. I'll look into doing that, yeah. So yeah, that's pretty successful, I think. So we have two 1 terabyte hard drives, a Western Digital and a Seagate, which I'm pretty sure they detect. They probably just have data on, no operating system. Yeah, it's running fine for my HD. So it's an i5, was it 4690 or something? We got the Republic of Gamers ROG Strix GTX 970. I had a quick look. The motherboard and processor together are worth about £70 UK, which is probably 80 odd euros. I paid 50 for this. The GPU, I don't know what the going rate is on these. Somewhere over £100. I mean, I'm sure some of you can probably tell me. eBay probably give me a good idea. But yeah, I've got my money's worth out of this one. The two 1 terabytes will be very handy, just for making backups of the all the YouTube videos for the channel, and just keep them, you know, one on the computer and one on one side, not connected to the computer, and then you know, that's a safe backup. Yeah. Okay, so end of the day for me, a bit of a long one. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'm going to see you all very, very soon on another video. We've got the little games console to look at, we've got another computer to look at, and I've got a couple laptops in for repair as well, and finish the mixer repair. Okay guys, see you soon.